In other world news, the US President Joe Biden is kicking off a tour of the Middle East today. He's due to land in Tel Aviv very shortly, where he'll be received by the caretaker Prime Minister Yair Lapid, who took office less than 2 weeks ago. Well, amongst other things, the two leaders are expected to discuss the threat posed by regional rival Iran. Well, later in the week, the 79-year-old president will meet Palestinian leaders before Air Force One then heads to Saudi Arabia. Well, let's get more now from former US diplomat William Jordan, who joins us here in the studio. Welcome back to France at 24. You served a number of years in the Middle East, correct me if I'm wrong, but in Saudi Arabia, Jordan, yes, Syria, as well as parts of North Africa. Tell me, what is the purpose of this visit, and what's President Biden hoping to achieve in this visit to Israel?
Well, as he's explained in an op-ed that recently appeared in the Washington Post, President Biden is seeking to reinforce and underscore America's continued commitment to security and to creating or reinforcing partnerships in the region, with Iran top of mind, but also not forgetting long-standing issues such as the Palestinian problem. I mean, that's sort of the official gloss that the administration is trying to put on this. The timing of the trip and the fact that it's coming amid turmoil in energy markets as a result of the war in Ukraine and the problems between the United States and Saudi Arabia in terms of direct communication between President Biden and either King Salman or his son, Mohammed bin Salman, the effective ruler of Saudi Arabia, to try to get Saudi Arabia to intervene more forcefully in energy markets to bring oil prices down, is being seen widely as the main reason and is evoking quite a bit of skepticism, I think, in most of the media in the United States.
Yeah, we're just hearing now the White House says it does not expect a Biden press conference in Saudi Arabia. Right. I mean, that's just a sign, isn't it, that relations between Riyadh and Washington pretty fraught?
I think it's safe to say that until President Biden actually speaks to Mohammed bin Salman and there's some sort of, one would hope, clearing of the air between the two of them over a lot of the issues that have, most notably the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, the Saudi journalist who was working for the Washington Post. Until all of that is sort of settled, it's very hard to imagine how the two leaders could appear at a press conference and avoid the risk of possibly contradicting or saying things that one side or the other might not like. I also doubt that it's very much in the Saudis' usual way of doing things to have a joint press conference like this. I would suspect as well that certain people on the White House staff are probably doing everything that they can to keep Joe Biden from speaking in front of an open microphone and possibly saying something that might cause them all to have to scurry to walk it back. But
that does seem to happen every now and then, doesn't it? Interesting to note, though, overall, sort of looking at more at Israel and the Palestinians, it doesn't appear, does it, that the Biden administration is reversing too many of the decisions taken by his predecessor, Donald Trump.
No, and in fact, one of the interesting aspects of this op-ed that appeared was a doubling down, if you will, by the Biden administration on trying to keep the so-called Abraham Accords between Israel and certain mostly Sunni Arab states around it going is very much part of what the Biden administration wants to build on. Now, there are a lot of skeptics, myself included, in terms of what those accords mean and what they lock the United States potentially into. But I think that certainly if you're looking at the Palestinian issue, certainly if you're looking at all of the things that have to do with Israeli policies towards either the Palestinians or the idea of a peace settlement, there's really no change. And right now, it's a delicate moment in Israeli politics, simply because Joe Biden is arriving in Israel 4 months or so before another round of parliamentary elections. So Yair Lapid is very much an acting prime minister. He's not really going to be in a position to do too much to change things one way or the other as far as Palestinian policy is concerned. And then on the Palestinian side, there's really no sign of change as far as that leadership is concerned in terms of an openness or a desire to enter into serious negotiations. So this is just kind of a courtesy call and making sure that the president is seen, as far as Israel is concerned, in a close ally, and as far as the Palestinians are concerned, or that is probably the one area of reversing what Trump did, and namely reestablishing at the presidential level contact with the Palestinian leadership, which was something that Donald Trump had basically
cut off.
broken.
And this is, of course, President Biden's first visit to the region
As
since
president.
becoming president. And I think, you know, what strikes me from what you're saying is that clearly the Palestinians' expectations have been managed somewhat to the effect that not a lot is going to be achieved, therefore, during this particular visit.
No, again, I think this is mostly just a sort of meet and greet in the area. I mean, this is just basically making a visit and saying, hey, we haven't forgotten about you. But nothing that I see or would interpret for the moment means that the U.S. focus is, as far as Israel, is on anything other than reinforcing the relationship with Israel, and possibly laying down some markers as far as what Israel might want to do vis-a-vis Iran, offering to help, build these partnerships with Gulf states and other Arab states that want to go further with these Abraham Accords, and making clear, as I believe was stated a couple of times recently, including in the op-ed piece, that the United States remains committed to the idea that Israel retains its strategic superiority in the region.
Okay, well, thank you. We're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed for coming to see us, William Jordan, former US diplomat. Thank you.